Hello everyone. As per request ng mga subscribers ko at ng Facebook friends ko, we will be going to tackle today the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020, which was released last October 2, 2020. So it has a title of Interim Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in Light of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan. So bakit ito nagawa? Kasi meron tayong pandemic na COVID-19 at nagbago na ang modality ng ating pagbibigay ng leksyon sa ating mga kabataan. So, dahil nagbago na, ay nagpalabas ng interim guidelines. So, when we talk about interim guidelines, it's a temporary guidelines kasi nga meron pa tayong COVID-19. So, titingnan natin kung paano natin i-assess at paano natin bibigyan ng grade ang ating mga estudyante sa panahon ng pandemic na ito. So we will be talking about the provisions found in the DepEd Order number 31. So number one, in its commitment to ensure teaching and learning continuity while looking after the health, the safety, and the well-being of its learners, teachers, and personnel, the Department of Education issued DepEd Order number 12, series of 2020, titled Adoption of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan for school year 2020 to 2021 in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, before itong DepEd Order number 31 na release, prior to this ay nag-release ng DepEd Order number 12 ang ating Department of Education para ma-adapt natin yung Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan despite na meron tayong COVID-19. So, na-shift ang ating educational system, yung normal modality of teaching na face-to-face natin, nag-shift bigla ng different kinds of modality. Kaya kailangang ipagpatuloy ito. Kaya nagbigay ng DepEd Order, nagpalabas ng DepEd Order ang Department of Education para ma-adapt talaga yung ano ba yung talagang basic na learning continuity plan para sa ating edukasyon. So number two, to supplement the said DepEd Order, the DepEd issues the interim policy guidelines for assessment and grading. So ito nga. So dahil naglabas na yung DepEd Order number 12, kailangan ma-supplement ito ng isang policy kung paano natin ibibigay ang grade at paano natin i-assess ang ating mga kabataan kahit na merong pandemic-19. So ito na nga ang DepEd Order number 31. So number 3, as DepEd pursues learning continuity, it is imperative for schools to take stock of assessment and grading practices that will most meaningfully support learner development and respond to varied context at this time. So, dahil nag-pursue talaga ang DepEd na mapagpatuloy ang pag-aaral ng mga bata. So kinakailangan ang lahat ng mga paaralan ay magso-support talaga para sa development ng learner. Kahit nandun na sila sa bahay, nagpapatuloy pa rin ang kanilang pagkatuto. So yun. So, in every policy na meron tayo sa ating bansa, ay meron talaga siyang different principles. So, what are the different principles in the policy of the DepEd Order number 31? So, basically, letter A, assessment should be holistic and authentic in capturing the attainment of the most essential learning competencies. So, kasi nagbago na din tayo, ginawa ng most essential learning competencies. So, mag-a-assess tayo sa ating mga bata, it should be authentic para ma-attain natin ano ba talaga ang most essential learning competency na dapat matutunan ng ating mga kabataan. Letter B, assessment is integral for understanding student learning and development. So, kailangan nating ma-understood talaga ang learning and development ng mga bata through the following assessment, through the assessment that we are giving to them. Letter C, A variety of assessment strategies is necessary. When we say variety, iba-ibang pamamaraan ng pag-assess ng ating mga bata. So, kailangan talaga iba-ibang paraan ang ating pag-assess ng mga bata sa panahon ngayon. With formative assessment taking priority to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery. So, iba't ibang strategy ang gagamitin natin to assess the child para makita talaga natin kung nag-grow ba sila at na-master ba talaga nila yung learning competency na kailangan nilang matutunan. Letter D. Assessment and feedback should be a shared responsibility among teachers, learners, and their families. So ito na yung tinatawag nating bayanihan. Kailangan magtulungan ang paaralan, ang community, the teachers, the students, and all the families in the entire Philippines para ma-promote talaga yung learning continuity plan ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon. And letter E, assessment and grading should have a positive impact on learning. So when we try to assess the child or our students, we need to note that it should have a positive impact to their learning. Therefore, we need to assess positively para meron ding makuha na positive impact yung mga bata sa learning. Kasi pag negative tayo ng impact na learning, ibig sabihin walang natutunan yung bata. So we should continue to assess our children in order for us to give right strategies and in order for us to come up with a better learning of that particular student, learning the most essential competency that we need to teach them in light or in this pandemic season. Okay, number 7. Additional information to help implement effective assessment practices that are in line with the principle of this policy can be found. Merong enclosure itong DepEd Order number 31 at makikita natin yung mga additional information kung paano natin matulungan na ma-implement natin yung epektibong pag-a-assess ng ating mga kabataan doon sa enclosure number 2 ng DepEd Order number 31. And for number 8, for inquiry sa mga may mga katanungan, pwede niyong kontakin ang Bureau of Learning Delivery sa ating central office, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City. So pwede kayong mag-email at pwede din kayong tumawag sa kanilang telephone numbers. At number 9, after signing the DepEd order, immediate dissemination of and strict compliance with this order is directed. So pag sinabing strict compliance, lahat ng mga DepEd schools, elementary and secondary, should adhere or should follow this DepEd order. So signed, of course, Ma'am Leonor Magtolis Briones, the Department of Education Secretary. Okay, now we will be talking the different enclosures na kalakip ng DepEd Order number 31, 2020. Okay, so what is the rationale of the DepEd Order number 31? So, dahil nga meron tayong COVID-19 at hindi kailangan talaga mag face-to-face yung mga kabataan at alam ng DepEd na nagpre-prepare talaga yung mga DepEd schools for school year 2020 and 2021. Therefore, ang lahat ng mga teachers or lahat ng mga schools ay kailangang mag-adapt ng alternative learning modalities para ma-ensure talaga na ang mga kabataan ay nakuha talaga yung mga most essential na mga curricular goals or mga objectives na matutunan dapat nila. So kailangan din na creative at innovative ang pagka-design para yung optimal na learning experiences ng mga bata ay makuha talaga. So number 2, as stated in DepEd Order number 8, the DepEd Order number 8 is the policy guidelines of in assessment during the in K to 12 curriculum. So, Assessment should be used to inform and improve classroom practices and promote learning outcomes. So this is really the purpose why we should assess our children. So that for us to be informed and to know how to improve our classroom practices. However, in distance or blended learning environments, it is necessary to utilize alternative tools. Kasi hindi tayo face-to-face ngayon, kaya kailangan nating humanap ng mga alternative tools and different strategies on how we can continue to assess and to support our learning to our learners. So while avoiding creating undue pressure for the teachers, learners, and the family. So naglo-learn sila, na happy sila, na walang pressure na makukuha both for the teachers, for the learners, and also to their families. So, what is the scope of this DEPED order? So, again, kanina, this is just an interim guidelines. Ibig sabihin, this is just a temporary kasi nga meron tayong COVID-19 and this will be implemented for school year 2020 and 2021. And also, another scope is that the private school, the technical and vocational and higher education institutions, lahat ng mga nag-o-offer ng K-12 basic education ay gina-encourage or ini-encourage na i-implement ito. Pero, pwede din silang mag-modify. Pero, kailangan talagang alam ng mga DepEd Regional Office kung paano nila minodify ang DepEd Order number 31. Okay, to define terms, meron tayong letter A, classroom assessment. Is an ongoing process of identifying, gathering, organizing, and interpreting quantitative and qualitative information about what learners know and can do. So pag sinabi natin classroom assessment, ang meaning nito ay ang pag-identify, ang pag-gather, ang pag-organize at pag-interpret natin ng mga scores, quantitative and also the qualitative information para alam natin kung ano ba ang nalalaman ng ating mga kabataan at ano pa ang posible nilang mapag-aralan at matutunan. So when we say formative assessment, it is a process that involves teachers using evidence about what learners know and can do to inform and improve their teaching. This process, through the teacher's immediate feedback, enables students to take responsibility for their own learning and identify areas where they do well and where they need help. So pag sinabi natin formative, alam naman natin na formative assessment can do anytime sa ating lesson. We can do formative assessment before the lesson, during the lesson, and after the lesson. So because of the formative assessment, we can diagnose na at alam natin na ngayon kung sino yung may natutunan na dito, sino ang kailangan pa talagang matuto dito, at sino kailangan pang mag-master sa subject na ito. So magagamit natin itong formative assessment as teachers for us to know ang level ng ating mga estudyante na nag-aaral na nandyan sa ating subject. So kailangan talagang gumawa ng formative assessment si teacher for us to gauge the knowledge level of our children at ano pa talaga ang pwede nating ma-impart sa kanila. Now, what is the summative assessment all about? It is an assessment that is usually administered toward the end of a learning period to measure the extent of which the learners have mastered the essential learning competencies, the results of which are recorded and are used to report the learner's achievement. So pag sinabi nating summative assessment, ito yung mga chapter quiz, ito yung mga after nyo na-discuss ang particular na topic na yon, i-assess mo na siya. So these are graded. So these assessments are graded and being used para ma-report natin sa mga parents ano ba ang achievement ng kanilang mga learner. So it is necessary for the teachers to give summative assessment para na rin alam mo kung sino yung bata na napag-iwanan during the discussion at makikita mo sa score na nakuha ng bata. So, kailangan si teacher ay gumawa ng paraan na paano makapagbigay ng summative assessment sa mga bata. Hindi for degrading them, but for gauging them kung anong learning na nakuha nila sa lesson or particular period of time na binigay mo sa kanila. Now, letter C, grading. It is the way of reporting assessment data by assigning a value to the results as a record of students' ability, achievement, or progress. So, pag sinabi natin grading, isa siyang way na ma-report natin yung assessment data. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano yung nakuha niyang score, yun ang ibibigay mo na value. So, that is what we call grading. So, for the policy statement, so yun nga, ang sabi ng DepEd, they are committed to ensure educational continuity. Kahit nga meron tayong pandemic na COVID-19, gusto talaga ni DepEd na makontinue yung learning ng mga bata. And gusto ng DepEd din na looking forward for the betterment of the health, for the safety and well-being of all the learners, for all the teachers and all the personnel. So kailangan lang talaga ng mga school kaya itong DepEd Order number 31 ay inimplement kasi kailangan talaga ng mga school na ma-assess yung mga kabataan na kahit anong modality ang ibibigay natin ay patuloy pa rin na natututo ang ating mga kabataan na meron silang learning na meaningful sa kanila kahit na meron tayong pandemic na ganito, at least yung learning nila ay continuous at saka may meaning sa kanila. Okay, so another policy statement. So binalik na lang, letter A, assessment should be holistic and authentic. So kailangan talaga as authentic as it is para ma-capture natin yung attainment or makuha natin yung attainment ng ano ba yung most essential learning competencies na dapat matutunan ng ating mga kabataan. So assessment is integral for understanding student learning and development. So ang assessment ay gagamitin natin para maintindihan natin kung natutunan ba ng bata ang lesson at para may matutunan sila at ma-develop yung kanilang particular part of their lives na nakuha nila sa lesson na yon. Letter C, a variety of assessment strategies is necessary. So, assessment strategy. So, kailangan paiba-iba yung pag-a-assess mo sa kabataan natin ngayon. It is really needed, with formative assessment taking priority to inform teaching and promote growth and mastery. And then, assessment and feedback should be shared responsibility. So, pag nag-feedback tayo, kailangan tayong magtanong sa mga nanay, sa mga tatay, sa family kung kumusta ba ang pagkatuto ng kanilang mga kabataan sa loob ng kanilang mga bahay, at kailangan ding malaman ng mga parents ano ba ang nais na masuporta ng DepEd para sa pag-continue ng learning ng kanilang mga kabataan. Letter E, assessment and grading should have a positive impact on learning. So it is really needed that this assessment and giving the value of grades sa ating mga kabataan dapat merong positive impact sa pagkatuto ng mga kabataan. So magbigay tayo ng reasonable grade para sa mga kabataan, magbigay tayo ng reasonable assessment para maintindihan talaga ng mga bata kung ano ba ang dapat nilang matutunan. Hindi tayo nagbibigay ng assessment para alam natin kung sino yung matalino, kung sino yung hindi masyadong nakakaintindi. Ngunit magbibigay tayo ng assessment para maging guide natin mga teachers the next time that we need to decide, that we need to have the assessment to be designed carefully na ang aim ay towards the positive learning of our learners. Okay, policy statement number 8, teachers, school leaders, learners, and parents must commit to uphold the integrity of learning and instruction in the context of distance education. So kahit nag-distance education tayo, dapat ay magtulungan talaga ang lahat ng community, both internal and external stakeholders, para makuha natin yung integridad ng pagkatuto ng ating mga kabataan. Kasi ang main desired outcomes of this policy ay ang sumusunod. Letter A, to ensure that all learners are fairly assessed and graded in the continuation of education during the health crisis or crisis. So, pag sinabi nating fairly assessed, so pantay-pantay na pagka-assess. So, walang nauna, walang nahuhuli. At pantay-pantay din ang pagbibigay ng grado. So, ibig sabihin kung ano yung natutunan ng bata, yun ang mabibigay niya yun ang makukuha niyang grade. So, letter B, to emphasize that learning standards shall be attained. So, kailangan talaga ma-emphasize na itong learning standards talaga, ito talaga yung kailangan mong matutunan sa week na ito, sa module na ito. So, kailangan nating i-emphasize, kailangan natin masiguro na itong learning standards na ibinibigay natin every week through the module ay matututunan talaga ng ating mga kabataan with the provision of reasonable leniency and considerations for possible difficulties met by the learner. So, hindi natin i-judge ang mga kabataan na ganito, ganyan. So, kailangan alam din natin na meron ding difficulties na mamimit ang ating mga learners towards answering the module, towards answering the different assessment na binibigay natin. So, dyan napapasok yung technical skills ng mga teachers na kailangang tulungan natin ang mga estudyante. Alam natin kung sino yung nahihirapan kasi pag check natin ng module, pag tingin natin ng score ng module, may mga bata talaga na hindi talaga nakakasagot ng tama. So, isa na yung indicator na kailangan ng pumasok tayo as teacher na kailangan na nating magbigay ng todo suporta para ma-meet talaga ng batang yon or ng mga kabataan natin, mga estudyante natin, yung target na learning standards. So the distance learning poses challenges for teachers and learners in the conduct of assessment, including limitations and on giving immediate feedback and the need to account for different contexts in designing, implementing, and grading assessment tasks. So meron talagang masasagupan na challenges ang ating mga teachers at ang learners. Ang unang-una dyan ay ang pagbibigay ng assessment. So nahihirapan tayo kasi yung mga kabataan natin ay wala sa loob ng ating classroom at malilimit din ang ating pagbibigay ng feedback sa kanila. So, kailangan din nating tingnan kung paano tayo gumagawa ng mga context, paano natin i-implement yung mga context, at paano natin i-grade yung mga assessment tasks na binibigay natin sa mga bata. So, these are the different challenges na makukuha natin as teachers towards giving the feedback, towards giving the assessment to our learners. So, to address these challenges, so kung meron tayong problema na nasasagupa, meron din tayong pag-address ng mga challenges na yan. So, meron tayong significant roles and responsibilities. So, unahin natin, ano ba ang mga roles ng teachers ngayong pandemic season? So, letter A, or number one, the teacher should design the assessment to allow for flexibility in multiple modalities. So, magde-design tayo ng mga assessment na flexible. So, kahit anong type ng mga estudyante ay pwede niyang masagutan ang ating assessment. At saka, kahit anong modality ang gagamitin, ay mas madaling masagutan ng bata ang ating assessment. Communicating to learners and parents and guardians the design and standards for grading the assessment. So the role of the teacher, kung teacher ka man na nanonood ngayon, ang role mo is to communicate sa mga parents at sa mga learners kung paano ba i-grade ang assessment na kinukuha or binibigay natin sa kanila. Through this DepEd Order number 31, so kailangan yung ipaalam ito sa mga kabataan, especially to the parents. So, next, setting up mechanisms to monitor and record progress remotely. So, kahit malayo kayo sa isa't isa, meron kayong mekanismo na mamomonitor mo pa rin yung progress ng kanang mga kabataan mo. So, kahit hindi mo sila kasama sa loob ng classroom mo, ay mas madali mo silang mamomonitor kasi gumagawa ka ng mechanism. So, kung ano yung mechanism na yun, it's up for the teachers na implement yon para mas mapadali niyang malaman at ma-record or ma-monitor kung meron bang natutunan ang bata. Next, giving timely, constructive, and relevant feedback. So itong giving timely, so kung ano yung binigay mo na assessment, after mong na-check yung module ng bata, ay magbigay ka kaagad ng feedback. Pag sinabing constructive, so yung nagbigay ka ng feedback na kahit alam mong mali yung bata, pero magaling mo pa rin nasabi sa kanya na hindi nasaktan yung bata. So mas nasabi ng bata, okay, pagtutuunan ko to ng pansin kasi ito yung sinabi ni teacher. That is what we call constructive
feedback. And relevant feedback, kung ano yung kailangan talaga na i-correct ng bata na relevant doon sa ginawa niyang assessment, so kailangan mong ibigay sa bata yon. At ang last na trabaho ni teacher ngayon ay to facilitate remediation for learners who need further guidance. So, alam natin kung sino yung mga bata na nahuhuli talaga sa pagbibigay ng during assessment, nahuhuli talaga sila. So, si teacher dapat ay magbibigay ng remediation para sa mga batang yon. Kung ano yon ay i-design yun ni teacher at dapat magaling ang pagka-design kahit na remote talaga ang remote kayo sa isa't isa, malayo kayo sa isa't isa, ngunit may remediation si teacher na binibigay sa mga bata na kailangan pa talaga ng further guidance.